Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Bearcat Chats. I'm Jacob Wilkins, and we are highlighting entrepreneurship and innovation today at the Koffman Southern Tier Incubator. And a pleasure to be joined by Jacob Koffman, who is a junior in mechanical engineering as part of the Watson School. Laura Holmes is the director of incubator operations, and Olga Petrova is the instructor and coordinator for Innovation Binghamton's I-Core site. And Olga, I want to start with you. You really work with students directly. And for those that don't really know the relationship between the incubator and the students at Binghamton, fill us in.
So we, as an incubator and as our Office of Entrepreneurship Innovation Partnerships, we promote all sorts of activities related to innovation and entrepreneurship on campus and in the community. And campus is a very big focus of ours, with running a number of different programs, including a pre-accelerator program for graduate students and the National Science Foundation I-Core program, which is open to graduate students, undergrad, basically anyone who has an innovative business idea or some kind of an invention. I could also bounce it to Laura because she's had quite a bit of experience working with the student innovator community.
Thanks, Olga. So yeah, we started working with student entrepreneurs about a decade ago as our Department of Entrepreneurship and Innovation Partnerships. We have a statewide business competition that we participate in that's just for college students. We've held some pitch competitions within the university. One of them even received outside funding by an audience member. So we've been doing that for about a decade. And then when the Koffman opened about 3.5 years ago, kind of expanded our territory a little bit and brought on some of the programs like Olga mentioned about I-Core and Exceed and different ways to engage students.
And Jacob, tell me how you got involved.
So originally I attended SUNY Broome, which is also a school local here in Binghamton. At an engineering week dinner, I ended up sitting next to the dean of the engineering department. And we got talking about a past project I was working on. She's like, you should really talk to these people over at the incubator, because Broome works jointly with BU on some of the stuff involved in the incubator. So that's how I got introduced to a lot of the members of the incubator, and then how I got involved with it.
And to follow, first of all, that's a nice seat choice by your part at that dinner.
Yep.
That's all about where you sit. And then Jacob, tell me, when did you start to develop, and folks, this is an entrepreneur here, started Claw Industries. Tell me what that is and how members of the incubator supported you in putting it together.
So Claw Industries is a recycling company. So we take waste glass from recycling industry, material recovery facilities, and we process that into a cement replacement that goes into concrete. So that would go to a precast or ready-mixed concrete facility. So the incubator has been really supportive of us through two things mainly, which has been programs and space. So on the side of programs, being a student at a university, you're thrown a lot of information, but the incubator helps you weed through that, and programs that are out there for innovators and entrepreneurs that you can get into, that can give you funding, and give you a lot of opportunities that you wouldn't have or wouldn't know about otherwise. And also in terms of space, there's co-op working space as well as office in the incubator. And that allowed us to basically separate ourselves from school and other things we had going on outside of the business, and allowed us to solely focus on what we wanted to do.
If I could just jump in there as well, what the students get, another benefit of the students being in the incubator is they get one-on-one mentoring with our entrepreneurs and residents, which is really key to the success of them moving forward at a pace that might take them years otherwise.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And Olga, how do you find these students, or are you recruiting them? Are they reaching out to you?
So it's definitely a combination of both, because we definitely have students who by chance come, they hear about the programs, they sit at next to somebody at dinner fortuitously. But we definitely try to increase the outreach because we want as many students involved. We don't want those really great ideas to go untapped and undeveloped. So we do reach out to different engineering societies on campus, different student groups. We try to run information events, go to the career fair. And we always ask our participating students to spread the word to others. We sometimes speak to classes like senior design classes as well. So we really try to spread the word and increase the outreach as much as we can.
Jacob, well, you started with Claw Industries. You saw an opportunity where glass was being wasted, and now you're, in layman's terms, using it in houses, sidewalks, bridges, and you worked, I believe, with two other students in finding this. Where did you see there, or when did you see there was an opportunity to really take something that was going to waste and make it productive?
So we originally didn't really want to get involved in the recycling industry. We just kind of found it interesting, and we toured some recycling facilities in our local area and basically saw that glass was an issue that they all had that nobody really talks about. So when you put like a wine bottle in the recycling bin, a lot of people think that ends up getting recycled, but in reality, it gets crushed up and sent to a bin at the back of a recycling center, and then it's sent all to the landfill. So we saw that there was just this waste going away, and it was kind of a problem that we just kept hearing over and over again when we were talking to these owners and operators. And so that's the point where we came back to the incubator. There was a lot of times after the tours that we were able to use some of that co-op working space and just kind of like talk through everything just in a quiet place by ourselves and really like think about the issues that they were having. And that's kind of how we like started going down this track of, how can we clean this glass, and then what is an ultimate end use for it.
And Olga, what are other, you guys really hit a wide array of industries and support students in a wide array of interests. What are some other programs or projects that students are working on there right now?
So I can touch upon two different programs that we do have for students. So one of them is the Exceed Academic Pre-Accelerator. So this is one for graduate students and undergrads who are working on more high-tech development research projects where there is an end goal of producing a product for the real world. So that particular accelerator, pre-accelerator, teaches them how to take something from, the lab, the bench to market, how to commercialize research, that long process that one has to go through. And we teach them how to de-risk it. We teach them how to really make that road easier and avoid certain mistakes that a lot of people make, and really hopefully turn our graduate students and undergrads into entrepreneurs. And then the other program that we run is the NSF I-Corps. So this is from the National Science Foundation. It's a nationwide program, and there's two levels, and we run the local regional level, where it's a 3-week course where anyone can come with a business idea, and we teach them how to talk to potential customers, other potential partners, and really figure out if there's a market, because most startups fail because there's no market, there's no customer need. So we don't want our students heading out and spending time and money and resources on something that might not have a market. And on top of that, not only is it a free program, we actually pay the students a small stipend to do this, to go out and talk to people to find out if they have a business. And pre-COVID, they could travel all over the country and sometimes the world to do this program, but unfortunately, they can't do that now.
And Laura, that's a good segue. How has the pandemic changed the way the incubator operates and the way industries are operating?
I love that question. Thank you for asking that. So obviously we've changed, we have some guidelines here, just like the university, just like other public places, regarding masks, social distancing, etc. But we have been very lucky, and I like to think it's not luck, actually. It's a testament to the services that we provide. I have the luxury of talking to other incubator directors across the country through an organization, and many incubators sadly have lost up to 50% of their tenants and startups that could not survive during COVID. We've only lost one. And our members, even though they choose maybe not to be in the building every day, find so much value in the mentoring and the other programs that we offer, that our membership rate and our tenant rate has stayed very steady throughout all of this.
That's terrific. And Laura, what about some of the businesses that you work with in the community? If you can highlight the way this has been a joint effort, town and gown.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, building the incubator in itself, the city of Binghamton was involved, Broome County was involved, SUNY Broome was involved, as well as Binghamton University. So it was definitely a joint effort all the way from the beginning. And then we were lucky enough to have the Koffman family in the area, a very philanthropic family that stepped up and said, we see this vision and we want to help you make it come true. The location that we picked for the incubator was very strategic. We're right downtown. In addition to our companies and creating jobs, which is really our overarching goal of economic development, because of our location, the tenants in our building are now walking downtown for lunch every day and sometimes dinner. And so we're helping support the very local economy of Binghamton that way as well.
And I've been there to the incubator, and it's in a terrific location, really impressive building. Jacob, it strikes me especially at the stage you're at and highlighting what Olga and Laura have said, it's all about building relationships, getting advice. And it seems like you have a leg up because of this knowledge you're gaining, and you're able to make mistakes and play around with things in a safe space. What's a piece of advice that you've received from one of the mentors at the incubator that's really stuck with you?
So I'd say, kind of going back to what Olga was saying about the National Science Foundation I-Core program. Basically, like, you can always go, like, always refine something. Like, there's always like a deeper layer. Like, surface kind of like will always make sense, but as you start digging deeper, that's where you really find out if something's going to work or not. So always take that extra step.
In our final moments, Olga, what's a message you want to pass along to students that may have an idea and aren't sure how to go about executing it or getting it off the ground?
Come talk to us, because it all starts with an idea, and we're here to help you figure out how to make that idea grow, what's the best way forward, and to make it a reality.
How about you, Laura?
So that it's not everyone walks in knowing what they want to start. Some people just walk in with just a tiny little nagging in the back of their head about a problem they want to solve. And that's what we do, is help to get them there. And Jacob is being a little bit modest, because the trajectory that he went on to find the concrete problem solver is quite a journey. And so they identified the glass as waste, and they tried many different things to turn it into a product that was useful to the world before they settled on concrete. So it's a journey, a wonderful journey.
And another thing about Jacob, so he was probably one of the best I-Core participants we've ever had, and he is currently on his way to securing a $50,000 grant from the National Science Foundation to move on to that second stage at the national level.
Jacob, I don't think you're doing enough, so circle back. What's a message you would have, Jacob, though, for your classmates?
Even if, kind of back to what Laura was saying, even if you don't have an idea, but this is something that you want to get into, or that you think you might even want to get into, definitely reach out. Everybody at the incubator and involved in these programs is fantastic, extremely supportive and knowledgeable. So if you put the work in, they'll put the work in too, and you'll get as much in as you put it, like as much out of it as you put into it. And the other message is that there is money out there. There's grants, there's programs that can help you do this. You don't need these big loans or a lot of like capital yourself to try to figure out if something would even work. Like Olga said, like the I-Core program that's available to students, that gives you $3,000, and that there's more programs on top of that we haven't even mentioned, like business plan competitions, venture well. So there's an opportunity out there if you take it.
And Laura, the relationship between the students and the folks in the incubator doesn't necessarily end when they graduate, right? They can continue to lean on those mentors and potentially.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a lot of student alumni that I stay in touch with many years later, and we're always supportive to our alumni.
Well, that's terrific. To all three of you, I'm really excited. I know the incubator has already had great success, but it continues to grow. Olga Petrova, Laura Holmes, and Jacob Kumpan, thank you so much for taking the time, and wishes for continued success.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.